I thought it was going to feel like forever since we've done one, but it actually really doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't feel like it's been forever. This would be 5 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So, but hey, we're back, guys. Yeah. Sort of. We're back. We're back. And the thing is, it's like in the month since we last recorded those like episodes to post while I was out, so much has happened.
Oh yeah.
In the world, and it's just like, I mean, we were just kind of talking about it before we started recording. We're like, we're in a better place, we feel, than we were a month ago.
Yeah.
We'll see in November if that's the truth, but so far so good.
Well,
we had Olympics. We had 2 weeks of the Olympics. It was actually perfect timing for me because it kept me busy. Yeah. I've never in my 47 years watched so much of the Olympics. Also, I guess in my 47 years, there's never been an Olympics that's had as much available to watch.
Oh, yeah. It used to be one channel, and it was just what they decided you were watching.
Exactly, yeah. So Peacock featured literally everything. So like,
oh yeah, because they can through streaming.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I watched everything. So, which I'll get into is I'm going to do kind of like we did last time when I got sick last summer, and kind of went through everything that happened and be completely transparent and not hold anything back. And people really seem to enjoy that. And people also really seem to enjoy the pre-recorded episodes that we did. I got a bunch of feedback from the Analog Horror episode and a bunch of people thanking us, probably more specifically you, because you really dug deep in that about, giving suggestions and all those things. So good news, bad news situation is that like you're going to get more of those shows. For those of you that don't know, my surgery physically went as well as it could have, but it was a much bigger thing than what was originally intended, if that makes sense. So I can't say that my surgery went bad because it didn't. It went well. It just here. I'm here and but there is now going to be follow-up surgery, which was not part of the plan originally in October. So I'll give you guys the full run through. If you're not interested in hearing this, that's totally cool. I get it. It'll probably be a little gross too. But we'll talk some, what we've watched while we were away. So if you want to fast forward, 20 minutes, 25 minutes or whatever, cool. If you want to just skip and wait until we're back, doing regular reviews next week, totally cool also. But I got a lot of people that reached out to ask how I was doing, which I appreciate very much. And the answer is I'm doing good and I'm doing well. But there was more to this than we originally intended. So, all right. So I had my surgery on July 17th, going in for a colorectal surgery where they were going to remove my diverticulitis. So they were going to take a chunk of my colon and my large intestine, take that out, reconnect me back up, and no more diverticulitis, no more issues that way. Day of the surgery, first and foremost, we get that my scheduled surgery is 10 a.m. They ask us to arrive at 8 to get checked in and do all that stuff. So we do that. Went into Boston, Tufts Medical in Boston, one of the older hospitals, but like one of the most well-renowned hospitals in the city. The place is a fucking maze. Have you ever been there? Have you ever been to the Tufts in Boston?
I'm not sure. I know I've been to the Brigham.
Brigham and Women's.
We did that for the fertility stuff, but.
Yep. Oh, we also filmed there, didn't we? That
was Beth
Brigham
Israel,
we filmed
right?
that? Oh, that was Beth Israel. Okay,
there's a hospital district in Boston.
There's a bunch of hospitals, yeah. So either way, Tufts has been there forever, but the facility is just kind of been retrofitted. It was a bunch of different buildings that they just kept acquiring more buildings, and you go into the place and it is a goddamn maze. And you can tell when you're walking through hallways, it's not this modern hospital. They have all of the modern stuff and everything is state of the art and all, but you walk through hallways, you're this used to be an office building or this was apartments that they turned into a hospital. So it's bizarre. But either way, so we check in after sitting in a monster amount of traffic trying to get into Boston.
Oh yeah, because the tunnel was closed for a month.
Tunnel's closed. Yeah.
I checked this morning. Just to throw something in. Instead of an hour and 10 minutes for me to get to work, which is right on the edge of the city, it was an hour and 10 minutes before this morning. It was between, when I checked different times, 23 to 32 minutes.
And it's all timing. And then you could get on the road.
But with no traffic.
That's what happened to us.
With no traffic, you could do it in 16 to 18 if there's no cops.
Yeah, Tufts without traffic was a 25 to 30 minute drive because it's on the other side of the city. It's just outside of Chinatown. And so we left at like 7, and at the time that had us getting there at 7:30, and then we didn't get there until probably like 20 past 8. So it just kept backing up. Either way, so we get in there, we get checked in, go through all the stuff. You know, they ask you the 1,000 questions. So Mel and I are waiting in the waiting room there. They bring me back at about 9:30 maybe. Okay. So we sat there for like an hour and waited, and then they brought me back and got me into the OR prep room at like 9:30. Now, I know we're not going off at 10 o'clock like we're supposed to because it's already 9:30 and they're just bringing me in to get prepped. So the nurses come in, and the nurses were awesome. Everyone was really cool, and they were like, "Hey, just so you know, the surgery before you is taking longer than intended, so we're not going to go in at 10, but we're going to get you all prepped." You know, they get me set up with an IV, which is a nightmare for everyone that's trying to do an IV for me because not only do I have a shitload of tattoos on my arms, which makes it hard to see things, I also have apparently incredibly tough skin and veins that don't want to bleed.
That's strange.
Yeah, so they had to bring in the IV
like
nurse.
Excuses to me. No, go ahead.
Yeah, they're not doing their job.
I know. Huh?
Stick me already.
Dumb nurses.
They bring in the IV nurse. Yeah, the woman that's like her job is to just put IVs in people.
Yeah.
So we get all set up, and we're sitting there, and now it's like 11 o'clock, and we're just waiting, and then 11:30 rolls around, and then it's almost 12, and the main nurse comes over, and she's like, they're not done yet. And I say to her, I go, "Hey, can you just let my wife know that we haven't gone in yet?" Because she's probably just sitting in the waiting room waiting. And we knew that the surgery was going to be like a 3.5 hour to 4 hour on the long side surgery. I'm like, so just let her know that so they call her, and Mel thinks that they're calling her to tell her that I'm done and I'm out.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
And they were like, do you want her to come back and sit with you? I'm like, if that's okay, as nobody else had anybody sitting in there with them. They're like, no, you're going to be waiting for a little while.
Okay.
So she comes back in, and she's like, I thought you were done. I'm like, no, I haven't even gone in yet. So fast forward, I didn't go in until 4 o'clock. Surgery was supposed to be at 10 a.m. I didn't go in until 4 o'clock. The surgery before me ended up taking an exorbitantly longer amount of time than they originally intended. It was supposed to be like a 2.5 hour surgery. It was supposed to be like a 2-hour surgery that started, I think they said, at like 7:30 or something like that. And it took. And now, if I'm that person, I'm glad that they're taking that time with me, and they're not like, "Oh, we got another surgery, so I know we're not done. Just put them back together, tough."
Yeah. We'll have him come back. So come back tomorrow.
Yeah. So I didn't go in till 4. By the time they actually got me into the operating room and knocked me out, it was probably 4:30, almost 5 o'clock. So obviously, anesthesiologists knocked me out cold,
right?
Because they were going into my abdomen. This is not the type of thing that you're going to be awake for. I so slowly wake up with no idea of what time it is, no idea of what day it is, no idea of what they've done, and I'm just like, they're like, all right, hey, how you feeling? And I'm like, wow, I am in a lot of pain. And they're like, yep, you just had a very, very big surgery.
Jeez.
And I'm like, okay. They're like, do you want to talk to your wife? I'm like, yeah, can I just to let her know that I'm okay? And I'm like, what time is it? And they're like 11:30. So my surgeon, first of all, not God bless her, but like, thank her for everything. She did both of those surgeries. So like she did that surgery. We got there at 8 o'clock in the morning, did that first surgery. And then like I talked to her in between, and I go, listen, if we need to push a day or something, like you've been here since 8 o'clock this morning. It's almost 4. Yeah. Like you've got to do another surgery. And she's like, well, yours should be quicker. And it wasn't, because it didn't get done until almost 11. So it ended up being, what was 3.5 hours ended up being over 5.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but she was great, so they bring Mel in, and I'm like, I'm in a lot of pain. And she's like, okay. And I was like, I still didn't know what time it is. I go, what time is it? They're like, oh, it's almost midnight. And I'm like, why are you still here? And she's like, I wasn't leaving until I knew you were out of surgery. Yeah. I go, well, where's Travis? She's like, he's at Andy's house. It's fine. He's sleeping over Andy's house.
Oh, that's good.
It's fine. Everything's good. She's like, get some rest. I'll see you. I'll come back tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. So like that first couple hours is, for most of it, is a blur. Like, and after about 2.5 hours or so, no, not even. So like my surgeon stayed and came in to check on me at had to be midnight. And she's like, hey, Bill, how you feeling? You know, she's like, I totally get like you're out of it, but like, how you feeling? And I vaguely just remember being like, you know, I'm in a lot of pain, but I think I'm okay. And she's like, all right, just so you know, things were a lot worse than we originally expected. She's like, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll give you a more. She's like, you're okay. She's like, don't worry. She's like, you're okay. She's like, but it was far more. And this seems to be my thing.
I wouldn't
right?
have been able to sleep. Hey, so when we opened you up, I didn't know what I was looking at, but I'll tell you about it tomorrow. No.
Well,
no.
the thing was, I was so out of it still because I don't know if have you ever had like general anesthesia where they knock you out?
Yes.
Those first 3 or 4 hours when you wake up are just like you're literally on another planet.
It's actually if you can move your head into I'm just gonna go with it, it can be fun, but if you try to fight it, it's not good. It's a little frustrating.
And I was just trying to get my head clear enough. And again, you guys know me. I don't drink. I don't do any drugs. Like there's no weed. Like I don't do anything. So like when I get hit with like medicine like this, like I am like literally like on another planet.
Yeah.
So she's like, just know, she's like, you're okay. Everything went well. She's like, just know that it was more than it was. And that was the same thing that happened to me in the hospital last summer.
Okay.
Like I went in for what I thought was like, you know, I didn't know what I was going in for. I thought I had appendicitis or it ends up being diverticulitis and I'm in the hospital for 17 days. You know, my back surgery, when I had my back surgery, it was way worse than what we were expecting.
Yeah.
So I guess it's par for the course. But one thing that I have learned through this whole thing is that I have apparently a very, very high pain threshold because they found out she came in the next morning and I was feeling better, but I was still kind of out of it. And she was like, just so you know, she's like, when we got in and we looked, she's like, your diverticulitis like hadn't healed at all. She's like, if you had told me that you were currently in a bout of, flare up with it, she's like, I would have been like, yeah, obviously. She's like, because looking at your colon, your intestines, and your rectum, she's like, from when you were sick last year, she's like, I don't feel like you healed at all.
Wow.
And I was like, well, how did I not know that? She's like, I don't know. She's like, I don't know. It was just like when I had my back surgery and they're like, it was a lot worse. And they're like, basically the entire disc was sitting on the nerve. He's like, I don't know how you walked.
When I had my hernia, it was a good 3-4 inches, of a bulge. And then, I don't know, 2.5. It was large. And I went to my regular doctor. They looked at me and they're like, you could push it, I could flatten it back, push it back through the muscle wall. But if I strained at all, even to fart, it would pop back out. And he's like, okay, now, and then I had to go to, my primary confirmed it. And then I had to go to the work doctor because it obviously happened at work because I was in a textile factory moving heavy stuff. And at that point, I had seen a few people, and I'm very self-conscious and private and stuff. But he's sitting in his little chair at the computer. He's like, all right, well, let's get a look. And I just pulled him down. I'm like, it's right there. See, that is a hernia. I am not a doctor. He's like, yeah, you're right. That's what that is.
That's a hernia.
Yeah.
It's like a finger sticking out of your side.
Yeah. And he's like, how are you standing up? I'm like, it doesn't hurt at all. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You see things about now different mental states, I guess I'll call it, have different levels of pain tolerance, which is interesting.
Yeah.
The littlest stuff, if you get a paper cut from a cardboard box, that sucks pretty bad.
Yep.
But it's the little stuff like paper cuts and all that. But if I hit deep down and I get to really good dark red horror movie blood, I'm like, oh, I got to get that taken care of. I walked into the hospital with a broken knee in 3 places. It hurt.
I bet.
But Yeah, it's weird. So pain is a strange thing, and it really varies person to person. And just because it popped in my head, I have to say that doctors used to think that black people, because it's not just African American people, it's everybody with darker skin, couldn't feel pain as much as other people.
Because that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like, oh, so-and-so, like Irish people can't swim because I'm not going there with any of this shit. Why? Why not? Like, that's stupid. Anyway, I don't know how I got there, but...
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But,
So they're like, it was a lot worse.
Oh, yeah,
and
pain.
basically what ended up happening was she's like, your sigmoid colon and your large intestine were so damaged that your rectum damn near killed him.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Had folded over to protect them.
Huh.
I was like, okay. She's like, your rectum was all fucked up. Ratty was the word that she used.
Oh, that's not good.
No. So she's like, so basically we had to go in, we had to fold it back over. We removed the section that was affected, reconnected you there. She's like, no problem. She's like, everything, the connection there looks good. Everything's going to heal. She goes, but I know you didn't want to have a stoma, but she's like, I had to do a stoma.
Now, did you know that before she told you?
I hadn't realized it yet. No.
All right.
Because I was still so out of it from all the drugs that I didn't really feel anything. And I had felt down a couple times and I was like, oh, I think I'm good.
Okay.
But I hadn't, but I was still so messed up.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
you can't feel anything. It's just your brain floating on fizzy Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
And that was the main reason why I didn't get surgery last year, is because I didn't want to have one.
Yeah.
And she goes, listen, Bill, she goes, I know that, when we talked, she's like, the main thing you were worried about was having to have one. She's like, but just know that I did everything I could to not, but it just didn't make sense. And she's like, for your long-term health, she's like, it makes sense to let your whole lower abdomen just rest and heal for the next, 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's over and done with now, so there's really not anything I can do about it. But she was very much like, she's like, it was a lot worse than we expected. She's like, but everything went as well as it possibly could.
Huh.
So I have to go back October 6th to have a second surgery for them to reconnect my upper intestine to my lower intestine. And October 9th is the date for that. So it'll be the same thing. And she said the healing time is about the same. She's like, it's not as invasive as surgery, obviously. And they did it laparoscopically last time. So it was all robots and shit, which was crazy. It felt like fucking, what's the movie where the guy's on the table when the robot's got all the fucking crazy arms and
Oh, geez. I think they did that in Futurama. There was Prometheus. There was Empire Strikes Back. There was a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, one of those. But it was that's what it was like. And it was and I just remember looking at that and then falling asleep. But it should be an easier surgery. And overall, I'm feeling good. My biggest thing is I just, I get tired so quickly and out of nowhere. So, but the stoma's fine. Dealing with that is what it is. It's not difficult. It's just annoying more than anything. Yeah. But luckily, people have them for their entire lives, and I'm, I guess, lucky that it's only for a couple months.
Yeah,
3 months. It'll be 3 months to almost the day.
Yeah.
Wow. But it is what it is.
Have you ever? I don't know. Other people, I'm sure, think about this stuff. But have you ever just really thought about something? How did it come about? This is gonna sound like a stoner talking, but give me a second.
Fair.
There's some food out there, like cashews, for instance, right? Cashews are related to poison ivy. They're in the same family, and only one specific part of the cashew is edible. How the fuck did they find that out?
A lot of people ate the parts that weren't first.
Yeah, but then I'm thinking about your bypass, because I hate that other word. It just feels,
I like to refer to it as a shit bag.
Yeah. Okay. But
because that's literally what it is.
Yeah, but there had to have been someone else at some point where when they opened them up, they looked and had something similar to you. Like, if we could just give this part of the body time to heal and not have it be used. And some dude in the corner is like, put a bag on the end of it. It's such a dumb idea,
right?
But your whole small, large intestines, they're non-functional, so all of their energy can go into that, and that's I don't know. I try to find something to be like not amazed with, but like, who the fuck could have thought of that? Like,
it's crazy when you think about it. But it's also like all the years of like medical school, medical science, and the plant, and like, you know, working on cadavers, like opening up cadavers and seeing like, you know, how everything's connected.
But somebody at some point had to say, just put a bag on the end of it. At some point.
Well, yeah, and that's things they're like, they're like, we can just cut it here, cut a hole in their abdomen, bring it up to the surface, and just design something to go on top of it that they could just empty.
Yeah, it'll run through the entire small intestine, so they'll get 70% of their nutrients, and then there we go.
Yeah, it's crazy,
it's a strange thing. It's. I mean, you're gonna, I'm sure, get used to it, but still hate it. It's kind of a Cronenberg-y kind of thing.
Because it's temporary, I actually think that I hate it more because I can't settle with it because I know that it's only temporary.
Yep.
But it is what it is. I came home after I was in the hospital. So I had the surgery late on Wednesday. I came home Saturday afternoon. And those first few days was rough. Was still in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And getting used to the stoma and the bag, and like, so like, it's a pretty simple process. It's like the bags are designed specifically for that. They have glue on them that you just stick over the stoma essentially, and you empty it whenever you need to empty it, and then to change it, you take it off and you put a new one, you clean it and put a new one on. It's super simple. It's annoying, but it's super simple, and change it every 3 or 4 days. Like, but it's just like the stoma has no nerves in it. So it's like the stoma itself doesn't hurt. It feels weird. Like I can tap it and like, it doesn't like, it maybe feels like a little itchy, if anything.
Okay. That's because was it healing around it?
And it still is.
Okay.
It still is. And just because, like we said before we went on the air, like, you know, you're dumping your feces all over this giant open wound.
Yeah.
Essentially. So like the top part of it is healed better than the lower part, because as it drips, even though like there's a barrier on the bag, like you can't get it right up against it.
So that you have to be really mindful of that, and like you must be cleaning it like a bunch.
Not as much as you would think.
Okay.
Because once you stick the bag on, like it just stays.
Huh.
Like I've had a couple leak on me, but that was more user error.
Oh, okay. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
So it seals up, you know, like you trim it to the size, like there's lines on it. So, you know, like they give you in the package with the things, they give you a thing to measure the size of your stoma. So you know what size to cut it to.
Oh, okay.
And then you just kind of stick it on, you clean it, stick it on. And you don't even really necessarily clean the stoma itself because it's just constantly moving fluids and things through it. So it's like you clean around it as best you can.
Okay.
And like I take a shower, like I haven't showered as much as I normally would. I'm a guy that showers every single day. Right. But like I've been showering like every other day because changing the bag is a nightmare. And they're also like, although it's included in my insurance, they're not cheap. So like,
of course,
my insurance is currently paying for them, but there's a point where they won't pay for them anymore. So I loaded up with as much as I could until, and hopefully have enough to get through October and not have to order anymore. Because I'm pretty sure the next order I'll have to pay for either with my FSA or, you know, out of pocket or whatever.
Jeez. Yeah.
So, yeah. So first few days was a nightmare. The first 2 weeks I was very, very tired and very weak and sore.
Yeah.
And today is like almost 4 weeks or just over 4 weeks. So I'm better now. Like, and the biggest thing is just I get tired. Very tired very quickly and out of nowhere. And I'm still like not allowed to do anything.
Oh, okay.
So like I'm not allowed to lift anything heavier than a gallon of milk, so I can't walk the dog.
Oh, geez, yeah.
can't really like do anything. The only pain I feel now is like if I have to bend over like drastically, like pick something up, put on my shoes, put on my socks.
It's still your abdominal wall up there.
Yeah, they cut right through the muscles in my abdomen. So like they said that's an 8 to 10 week like fully like to heal. They're like 6 to 8 weeks you can probably start doing some stuff, but like still like we recommend keeping it light. And since you're having another surgery like 10 weeks or so after, they're like, just kind of take it easy until you have your next surgery.
Yeah, because you don't want to have to wait even longer to heal from something else.
Right. Yeah. God forbid I tear something or like something happens, and then this, what's supposed to be the easier of the two surgeries, then it becomes an even bigger thing. So, but yeah, so that is the full history of my colorectal surgery.
That's interesting. I thought for some reason there was a little tube involved from like inside to outside your body. So I've just been scrolling through pictures here. I don't recommend that to everyone, but it literally is. I thought it was like it clipped on because you had to have the right size for that, but no, it's the you're measuring the size of basically your intestines there, and
that's exactly what it is.
And the bag. I mean, my kid is diabetic, so she has the sensors on her arms, and I've had surgical tape, so I know how well they can make adhesive that they don't do for everything.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of adhesive on there, and I get it because you got to create a barrier for water, air, all of it.
Yeah. And they told me, though, they're like, you can shower with the bags on, which I've done, which is easy, but they're like, you can go swimming. I go, I'm not going swimming with this.
Huh.
Like, I'm not going swimming with this.
No, because then you're just like a submarine bomber.
Right. Right.
Oh, jeez. That's not the kind of fog cloud you want following you.
No. It's weird. Anyway, so that's the whole story of that. But I mean, the good news is I was able to catch up on a ton of movies and shows and stuff that I've been looking forward to. And like I said earlier, like so much Olympics. I watched all of the Olympics. They started the Friday after I got home, and from like the time I would get up in the morning until like 7 o'clock at night, because I was able to watch everything live. Because that was the thing that always bothered me. I like the Olympics. I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, fuck the Olympics," whatever. I like the Olympics.
I have no problem with the sport like categories that stuff with the people that compete. It's the IOC.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just like any other governing body, whether it's FIFA.
I was going to say,
corrupt. All corrupt. But I never liked watching like the pre-recorded stuff, like to watch it live.
Right.
And Paris was like perfect because it was 5 hours ahead. 5 or 6 hours ahead.
Okay.
So like I'd get up in the morning and I could watch everything live, and then like the marquee basketball game or the marquee soccer game or the rugby game or the swimming races or like around like noon every day.
Oh yeah.
So I was able to watch all that stuff. So I'd watch like the surfing in the afternoon because they did the surfing was out in Fiji. And it was great. I watched everything. Fell in love with women's 7-on-7 rugby.
Oh yeah.
Fucking the best.
I can see that.
The best. Yeah. It's so good. So good. And it was over so quickly. It was like barely the first week of the games. And the U.S. Olympic women's team won the bronze medal. It's the first time they've ever medaled in the sport. And these women are like real life superheroes. Like incredible. The women's soccer team won the gold medal. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Fiji is like, do they always do that? Do the surfing really far away?
It depends on where the games are.
I was going to say.
Or maybe it wasn't Fiji. It was one of those.
No, I mean, that sounds right.
I remember one of those French.
Hearing that.
Maybe French Polynesia. Maybe it was French Polynesia.
Okay. All right. Well,
is that Fiji?
I don't know. Let me see.
It was they were French
American.
Governed. Yeah, they were French governed islands wherever they were.
Yeah, they're all over the place. French Olympic surfing, says France. That's not helpful.
No, that's not helpful.
Oh, yeah. Tahiti, French Polynesia.
Tahiti, not Fiji.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Okay. I'm just looking stuff up because Fiji is literally the other side of the world.
All right, so I misspoke.
No, I just thought, I wasn't going to put it past anybody. Where did I say it was Tahiti?
Tahiti. It was awesome, though. Surfing was great.
Oh, I can imagine.
the place that they did it to was like right on this like crazy reef. So they're like, you're gonna see these surfers bail out before they reach the reef because if they get onto the reef, they're going to die. Like
it's
like,
okay. So it's not any really closer to.
It's just in the other direction.
It's what do we got? 1,000 miles, maybe 1,600 miles to the east in the South Pacific Ocean. So essentially probably the same wave conditions.
Yeah.
But why don't they just do that? Have the Olympics, have an opening ceremony that a place can host, and you can do the decathlon stuff there, and then everybody else goes to where the best facility is.
Well, because of a host country, but the idea of the host country is that the host country, you use all of their facilities.
Yeah, I know. But
surfing was the only thing that wasn't like
the
there.
Countries. It really wrecks them. I don't know. It just
depending on the country, because I mean, we're going to have the Olympics here in Los Angeles in 2028.
Yeah,
so
I am.
We had them in Atlanta, we've had them in Salt Lake City. So like, it depends on the country.
I am so glad that they weren't here in Boston.
They've tried to have them in Boston a number of times, but the problem is it always ends up being Boston's infrastructure.
Well, yeah.
You can't get anywhere.
Our subways don't fucking work. Ugh.
Crazy. Anyway, all right. So we'll talk about some movies here. So I obviously had a ton of time to watch a ton of stuff. And yeah, I mean, I watched, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 25, 26, 27, 28 films.
Okay.
Which I know to some of you guys is probably not that much, but for me, that's a fucking lot.
Well, you also had 600 hours of Olympics in there.
Yeah. So I caught up on a number of things that I'd been meaning to catch up on, stuff that I hadn't been able to catch, and then also trying to catch up on stuff from this year that people were talking about. So most of the stuff I watched, if not all of it, is all new. It's all new stuff for the most part. Like I rewatched Deadpool 2, and then we went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine. That was yesterday. Was my first trip out. Have you gotten to see it yet?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Did you like it?
I did. Yeah,
I did too.
I don't have any issue with the goofiness, with the meta. I think that I don't know of a funnier Marvel movie than that.
Deadpool 2?
No, because 3 really, like the first one, it's like, oh, okay, so the Negasonic Teenage Warrior, great, you dug a little deep for that. But some of the Wolverines that like maybe it was a still image and like you see stuff at the TVA or whatever, because I'm not going to give stuff away. They dug and went so wide with all of the stuff. It was, there's stuff that there's still people just trying to, they have their telesync rips or whatever, and they're going through them frame by frame trying to find stuff. It is one of the most dense Easter egg type movies, but it can only work with Deadpool because he can talk to the audience. So obviously that stuff's there for us.
Yeah. And the first thing I said coming out of there was I was impressed with how well written it was because of how deep they were digging. But I really enjoy. I actually liked all the Deadpool movies a lot.
Yeah.
There's some issues in the first two. I think the first is like a near perfect introduction for a character like that.
Yeah,
because it's kept on such a small scale.
Yeah, and it feels smaller when you look at it because we've watched so many movies. You can see a movie's budget on the screen sometimes, and there is a big difference between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3, and obviously then 1 and 3.
Yeah. Oh, huge. Yeah. Yes, huge. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think the tongue-in-cheekiness of it worked surprisingly well with the more serious moments of it because I rewatched Logan too, and I hadn't rewatched that since it was released, and I forgot how sad and dark that movie is. It's still very good and holds up very well. But like the version that we get of Wolverine in this is, very much still that kind of dark, sullen character.
Yeah.
And I was just really impressed with that they were able to still get those moments, where they would actually pull at your emotions and get it to work.
Yeah.
Despite how tongue-in-cheek the whole film is.
Right.
Well,
I think,
but then there's not to. I'm not going to ruin anything. Sorry, I'm not going to ruin anything. But like, there's those emotional moments with Deadpool himself too, which also work really well, and they worked really well in the first two also, where they're able to kind of flip that switch and like they use his humor as a coping mechanism. Very well, I think.
Yeah. I was going to say most comedy that I find in horror movies works really well because it offsets the feelings that you have. But it's usually well placed. It's not just like a dumb aside or Leslie Nielsen farting or something.
Right.
And that's what this does. It's comedy based on the situation, and it does counter some of the. I'm sorry, I was just remembering like 16 different things that surprised me in it. There is one thing that I remember saying about one of the cameo people in there, that it would be great to see this character as, and not what everybody would think. You know who I'm talking about?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And that was my favorite part of the whole thing. I think that was my favorite surprise.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the whole use of characters that weren't necessarily given their proper.
Yeah.
I mean, not a spoiler, but like their proper goodbyes.
Yeah.
And I really like how they use that. And now have been able to potentially breathe life back into those characters, whereas they were dead in the water before.
Yeah. Like one person was notoriously stubborn on set, and clearly that person has grown in time because they can crack jokes about themselves on some TV shows that reference that stuff. And so that's kind of good, I guess. Give him a little pat on the back instead of, I don't know what I'm saying.
No, I get it. But
I had something else and it just kind of all petered out.
Yeah, and the breaking of the fourth wall is like, if you want to fight, I see a lot of people kind of like, they're like, it's too much if you're bringing it into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like, because that's just, you've never gotten that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but it's also, you got to remember, this story's being told through the eyes of a character that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and in the comic books, I know that Xavier went into his mind and it almost like broke him because Wade is aware of the fact that he's a comic book or cartoon or movie character. So that could be really interesting to play with. But this movie also just straight up brings in mutants, and more than one. And I like that. That it was just effortless for them to bring it all in, because it's like all the old, friends that you used to hang around with.
Yeah.
And it can all make sense.
And it makes sense in the world.
Yeah.
Like, and I love that they brought like the idea, like the Loki TV series, like, works its way into this.
Yeah.
The TVA is obviously an entity that like we knew existed for the most part.
Right.
So like, it's the type of thing where you're going to institute that.
Yeah. And it is part of it. It works.
Yeah. And it does. And again, a lot of people are like, well, if Wolverine's dead, how are we going to bring him back? Like, well, we know the multiverse is a thing. There's thousands of timelines and thousands of planets and thousands of universes that, like, yeah, you could do anything you want. But it's done. And in this, I think it was done in a very smart way.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't really a spoiler, but there's like this whole like kind of montagey scene where Deadpool is trying to find the right Wolverine. And like, it just works.
Yeah. Yeah. I was so impressed with how that just makes sense. How it wasn't like, okay, so why do they all look different? It's a different world. I mean, it's so easy to explain, especially going through the preliminary stuff there with Kang and the TVA. It's just and Spider-Man movies and Doctor Strange. And they've been laying the groundwork for this kind of thing for a long time, probably because they know we're going to get the X-Men. So we need to not fuck this up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's got me. I kind of fell away from Marvel around Loki season 2. We watched
Same.
one, and I'm like, whatever. And then I watched the Deadpool one, and then of course you see stuff for like Thunderbolts, and I wasn't really big on Falcon's. Not a character that I think of ever.
Right.
And I'm like, he's a great actor. Fine, he looks good. And then I saw the trailer, and I'm like, all right, I might give that a shot.
Oh, the new Captain America. Yeah. I was very like and we'll talk about it momentarily with some of the more recent Marvel stuff. But like, I wasn't on board with the new Captain America. But the trailer that's out there now for, I forget what the exact title is, but Anthony Edwards as the new Captain America, the Falcon / Captain America character. Like, the trailer they do a really good job with the trailer. One of the best trailers they've had in a long time.
Oh yeah. Plus,
to actually get you interested in it.
Yeah. Plus, his attitude has changed a bit.
Yeah.
He can still be cocky like you expect your comic book characters to be, but he definitely, when he's talking to Harrison Ford, he definitely has, it looks like military discipline, because he should, I mean, right?
Yeah.
But it's nice to see the switching around, because we only ever saw him off base, I guess you say, if he's military. So, yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad.
So now, like we said, like, and they make the joke multiple times throughout Deadpool and Wolverine of how, like, recently the Marvel universe has not exactly been hitting on all strides.
Yeah.
So I went back and I watched the Marvels, which I hadn't watched yet, and I was a huge fan of Captain Marvel. I loved Captain Marvel.
That was fun.
But the Marvels, just as I was watching it, I'm like, this is just missing something. It wasn't bad.
Okay.
But it was thoroughly fine.
All right.
And for your proper, Captain Marvel sequel, like, the original set a really high bar.
Yeah.
And this just didn't hit for me for some reason. Like, I didn't dislike it. Okay. But it's not something that I, like, will probably revisit.
I could see that.
Did you watch it?
No.
No. Okay.
That's the thing. We watched the Ms. Marvel series because, I like the girls, the actress's story behind everything, and
and she's pretty good in this.
Oh,
she
does
a good job.
Yeah, and that was fun because I actually learned some stuff that I hadn't learned in school, and I like when that happens. But it's the way it shows you just the way other people in another part of the world have been oppressed and taken advantage of, and like, you have no idea that other things happen outside of your immediate vantage point. And I had no idea. That was a huge, horrible thing that went on in India and Pakistan, and they don't teach us that stuff.
No.
So good. That's why I was interested, because I'm like, oh shit, what else is going to happen? And if I don't know what's going to happen or have any idea where it's going to go, it's much more enjoyable.
Yeah, and I think the biggest issue I'm kind of having with this phase of Marvel is I don't feel the connection from film to film that we felt when we were leading up to Infinity Wars. You know what I mean?
Well,
I get that they're trying to do it, but the problem is we took 10 years to develop our original Avengers characters, right? And so we knew these characters, and now everything is sped up. Whereas they want to get to that next Wars film, and everything nobody feels like their character is being given the time to develop for us to want to care about these characters. And the characters that have been held over have been given kind of garbage films. Like the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was fine.
Yeah, that's just fine. Yeah.
The Marvels was fine.
Yep.
I haven't watched Ant-Man because everyone I know that watched that Ant-Man Quantumania didn't like it, and the second Ant-Man movie wasn't very good either.
I did like the character of Ghost. I thought that was interesting, and she's going to be in Thunderbolts, which is one that I'm kind of interested in, sort of Marvel's Suicide Squad sort of thing.
Okay.
Which they're saying may move into Dark Avengers, which is a thing that I don't know that much about.
Right.
But
and that's the thing is, we are now past your, like, everybody knows these characters and everybody knows their story arcs. It's like, because like, you know, with the exception of the holdovers, you know, whether it's Ant-Man or Captain Marvel or, you know, now Deadpool and those guys are going to be brought into this world. Like, we don't know, like, what was the one that had Angelina Jolie in it? Whereas, like, it was the whole fucking group.
Oh, the Eternals?
The Eternals.
Never watched it.
It was bad, man. And the thing was, coming off of, like, you know, Thor and Spider-Man and Iron Man and these characters, and then they're like, you can't start with the group. You can't start that story arc where you've already got 7 or 8 people.
Yeah.
Or however many, because you're not going to be able to develop those characters because you got 5 or 6 storylines that you got to develop within one film.
Yeah, I think one of the two huge stumbling blocks that they've come across at this point is the first one is Jonathan Majors fucked everything up.
What did he do again?
Domestic abuse, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So that fucked their whole plan. Kang was their time traveler that was going to make it all possible. And I would imagine would have brought the Fantastic Four to modern day somehow.
Yeah. That's coming out next year, right? Fantastic Four's next year?
Yeah, but it's set in like 1964, I want to say, which is interesting.
Oh. See, and that's another issue is like all these different timelines and time periods, like you're not giving us an opportunity to pull these characters together because we don't know when anything is fucking taking place anymore.
True, but I'm also going off of a couple of snippets from a Comic-Con tease. So I don't know about that, but it seems like if you're going to put Pedro Pascal in a movie that's not Star Wars, you should probably make sure he can be in a lot of the movies. Yeah. So that's why I'm figuring Kang would have brought them around or something, because I think Reed has some kind of relationship with him. I don't know that much about Kang.
And I didn't watch that one anyway, so I don't know anything really.
I watched it because that was the first, I want to say one of the first Hollywood movies that we ran at the museum. And the Dome, while I love my theater, I did not enjoy watching it because it took up so much of the screen that like the action scenes were almost, it was like being back in like the 2000s with your Fatboy Slim soundtrack and your 40,000 cuts in a fight scene. It was just too close. But I mean, aside from MODOK looking really stupid, okay, they made Gambit in whatever movie he showed up in kind of a doofus. As kind of a joke, and I like it, and I think that's funny. But they made MODOK like who was Yellow Jacket in the first movie. He's kind of like sort of helpful, but like campily backstabby at the same time. Like they're trying to show he lost his mind, but MODOK is a machine only designed for killing or something like that. So like he shouldn't be cracking jokes.
Right.
So it was fine. There were a lot of interesting microverse or whatever it is. No, it's the Micronauts. What is that called when they go super small? Anyway, there were a lot of interesting creature designs. There was one dude that had a head that was like just a ring of molten something. That looked neat, but that doesn't carry your movie.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with Marvel. Now, I want to bring up another superhero movie that I watched that was really just one of the more frustrating experiences. I knew going in that when I watched Madam Web.
Why?
Exactly. Because it was like, I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. You didn't watch it, right?
I will not watch it, no. How do you make, after Catwoman came out, how do you make a fucking movie about a villain or even just regular character that depends on the other character being there?
I mean, they tried.
I mean, they're
they sure tried.
Sort of working it with Venom, but he's eventually going to run across Spider-Man. It's just a little more convoluted.
That new Venom trailer is actually pretty good too.
Yeah, they're going all out with that, which is nice. And did you see the Kraven the Hunter trailer?
I did, yes.
I turned to the kids and I said, you know what? Out of all of the Spider-Man villains that I could think of, Kraven is probably the best suited to have a separate origin movie. Because in the comics, when he comes to town, he's known already. He's got a reputation, and that kind of works. And I got unreasonably excited for the Rhino reveal at the end of the trailer because it's a real fucking Rhino suit. His skin, basically, but it's Rhino. It's not. I like the idea of making him a robot. That was kind of okay because Rhino is always like make him run into something and then punch him in the head. But this is good because if we can get Rhino over to the Marvel stuff, then we got our Sinister Six, and then we can finally make Ned Hobgoblin. And I will say, there are a couple things I've been right about in the past about Marvel stuff, and my favorite one was, hey, I think it was Iron Man 3. I said, hey, you know what? Mysterio could steal that tech and use it for his illusions. That would be perfect. I didn't get paid for that idea, by the way.
Not yet, at least.
No.
We're working on it.
But I did, I'm happy. And like the other cameo where I'm like, oh, this guy played, this person played two characters in this entire like franchise of things that have happened with this company. If they bring him back, I want to see him come back as blank because that would be stupid and hilarious.
Agreed.
And it was the best. And Gambit, absolutely straight. I know I'm going back. Absolutely straight out of the comic costume with the head bandana, neck, cheek thing, and all. And it looks stupid at first, but I got a lot of respect for Channing Tatum. I like him.
Yeah, like he was just in Salem.
I saw
over the weekend. Yeah, him and his family were doing all the Salem stuff over the weekend.
That's
but just briefly getting back to Madam
sorry.
Web,
I was
it's just an infinitely frustrating film. I don't know much of the characters in that whatsoever, and I get that you're then working the Spider-Man angle with Ben being there and then Peter being born in the film, but the whole thing is you have to think if you're going to conclude it into this universe. The bad guy in this is he's dressed in a Spider-Man suit.
I saw that. I saw
Black Spider. It's a black Spider-Man suit and like looks exactly like Spider-Man. Yeah. And then when Spider-Man eventually comes along, apparently Madam Web and her 3 chicks of doom have already been like operating or whatever, but there's no mention of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, I get, and this is again another issue with moving a timeline and moving this back into 2003 when we know 2015 or whatever, when that version of Peter Parker is becoming Spider-Man. Like, and then also like, it's the idea of the, like, not everyone has to be attached, like Uncle Ben, Adam Scott is a young Uncle Ben. That was like the one thing in the movie that I was like, oh, okay. I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't what are the chances of his son, his nephew then being the one bit by the spider when you've also got this person that you worked with who was bit by this weird Peruvian spider that is now Madam Web, and then there's no explanation where the other 3 girl characters get their powers from. Like,
really?
It's I think they thought the film was going to do well and they were going to create more of a series out of it, but like Morbius type hate for it.
Yeah. I don't understand why you couldn't just have Madam Web be younger. That's it.
I know, mid-30s is what they got her playing.
Because
Dakota Johnson is not an actress, and I was discussing this briefly with Melissa yesterday. I'm like, I just feel like she's not the type of person that I would like. And Mel's like, it's because of the way she emotes. She's not like super emotive, so she comes off as kind of cold.
That's true. I did watch her in something, and it surprised me that it was her. Because she was like funny and happy and all that, not like the other characters we've seen her play. And it made me kind of reassess the whole thing, because sometimes Natalie Portman, Hayden Christensen, your performances are based off of what the director wants to see, not what you're capable of. So that's always something I try to keep in mind. Like from now, like what are they? There was somebody they were rumoring to play. I don't remember, but it's like, well, we gotta give them a chance. We gotta just wait and see.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Madam Web is it's written so poorly. Like the writing in it is, and it doesn't make. It's not that it doesn't make sense, because it makes sense in the world they're giving us, but like, it's just so like matter of fact. Like she's basically like being like wanted for kidnapping these 3 girls because of like the situation that goes down, and she's the only one that they were able to identify. But she's somehow able to just fly off to the Amazon and continue to drive the stolen taxi that she's been driving. And like nobody's looking for her.
And this is right after 9/11.
2003, yeah.
Yeah.
In New York.
Yeah.
Like flies off to the Amazon to get answers. And then like comes back, and it was bad, and it looked bad, and like the CG there was a lot of points where things were just like, I can't make out what the hell's happening.
See, my idea that I would propose to Sony and Disney is Sony, sell them all their characters back. Disney, give them 20% of what their characters' movies make for 10 years.
And it's really funny with the Deadpool and X-Men thing now not being part of that Fox universe anymore. And when mild spoiler, the credit scenes in Deadpool, when they basically essentially do the like goodbye to Fox.
Yeah.
Like really, really well done. Yeah. So, Deadpool and Wolverine, very good.
Yes.
Very, very good. The Marvels, decent. Madam Web, horrible.
The what's it called? The Immortals, not the Immortals, the Eternals, right?
Yes.
The biggest problem they had with the Eternals is, where were they when Loki invaded?
Yes.
And if you don't have an answer for that, you're fucked. Like they fired Justin Roiland from Solar Opposites, and they recast him with the dude from The Guest, whose name I can't remember. Ben, maybe, I don't know. And the very first thing that happens is when the character walks in the door, through the door to the room they're in, he gets shot in the throat with a dart. And he says, go get the voice fixer. And then he's got a different voice. Problem solved. It's not that tough to figure your shit out.
No.
Where were the Eternals? Oh, they were in deep sleep under the crust of the moon or some shit like that, you know?
Something.
Because like Thanos was on the planet with an entire alien army, and Captain Marvel showed up from across the galaxy. Where were these superpowered motherfuckers? It was a mistake to just have them be, we only protect from these certain things. Well, you're no fucking good then.
Pointless.
It did get Kumail Nanjiani all buff though, so he was pretty happy about that. I can't fault them for that.
For sure.
Yeah.
The only other thing I'm going to mention today, and we're going to be able to get a couple weeks out of all the stuff that I've watched. So, because like I barely even touched on it, because we really only talked about Marvel. I will say that I watched the new DC animated Watchmen Chapter 1.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay, good.
Straight comic.
Good.
So, very good. The voice acting in it is excellent. That's definitely worth checking out. So, I think I'm going to leave our discussion of stuff there. Next week, have you watched Furiosa yet?
No, but I did watch Maxine.
Okay. So next week, let's focus on the Mad Max series, if you can catch Furiosa.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about Maxine and how it works with the other 2 films in the series, Pearl and X.
Yeah. Funny story.
Go for it.
I finished watching Maxine, and then I went out into the other room, and Nova was watching Pearl.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, hey, I got the other one too. We can watch that after. Did you see the first one? She's like, what first one? I'm like, okay, stop.
Yep.
So,
well, and the good thing is that series, like the first 2, you could watch them in either order, and it doesn't really. Actually, I think if you watch the second one first, it actually probably plays the story out better.
Yeah. Better flow. Yeah.
Yeah. Not to get into Maxine, since we're going to discuss it more in depth next week.
Yeah.
Completely different feel than X and Pearl. We know that I did not particularly like Pearl.
I did not either. No, but
I'm going to try and rewatch it.
Yeah,
I'm going to try to rewatch X also.
I always have a problem with characters that are shitty just because they can be, and that was my main problem with X.
So, and yeah, we'll talk about kind of Mad Max as a whole too. Furiosa is now able to watch on HBO Max.
Right.
If you have a chance to watch it, just know it's also 2.5 hours long.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But not to spoil the review, it is a quick 2.5 hours.
Well, good. An action movie should be a quick.
Yeah, much like I'll just leave it at this. If you enjoyed Fury Road,
yeah,
Furiosa is going to work for you. Not the same film, obviously, because it's more of an origin story, but it's also done very well. So good. Leave it at that. So Joe will hopefully be back next week. I didn't give him an update that we were going to record this week, and that's on me. But Scott did record a segment for this week.
All right.
So why don't we play that now before we head out of here and see what he's been up to.
At this point, Bill and Chris haven't had to listen to me on a weekly basis for over a month.
It's a nice change of pace.
Okay, well, now I'm back.
So that's a huge, problem.
What?
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. With Reverend Scott.
So I put the Spotify DJ on.
Yep.
And he said something like, all right, based on your music tastes, here's something.
Here are the 3 bands you like.
Here's something I think you'll like. It's a genre called fuck. Nice.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott, in case you forgot who I was after all this time. And now that Bill is back from his penis reduction surgery, I thought a nice welcome back to the show would be to change my segment up a bit.
Yeah, nobody's changing shit.
No, I insist. Because while you've both been off maxing and relaxing all cool for the last month, I've been hard at work watching new movies to review. I saw 4 in particular that I'd like to talk about, whether you like it or not. But considering how long my usual reviews go, I don't have 40 minutes to ramble on about these films, so maybe we'll do a lightning round of sorts. Because I know you can't likely form your own opinions without hearing my expert opinion first. Plus, my time is very valuable after all.
He's a fucking asshole.
Oh, yeah.
He's got an ego problem. He thinks he's the best. He doesn't want to waste his time.
Then it's settled. Let's put 5 minutes or 6 minutes up on the clock, starting now.
Here we go.
First, I have your new opinion on Longlegs, all one word. This is like if the movies Seven and It Follows had a baby. A moody, eerie, dark, and brooding police procedural baby with some horror elements. If someone tells you this is a scary movie, then they probably haven't really seen it. It's more of a creepy movie. It's an unsettling movie. If someone tells you,
I was bored as shit,
then what they likely meant was,
the desire to check my phone was strong.
Because this is a slow burn that was very gripping for me. It's a mystery that unfolds with interesting characters, especially the very wacky, very creepy, and very white Nicolas Cage. To say he's memorable would be an understatement. Several times his performance was like,
holy shit.
Hey, that's the name of my segment. I recommend Longlegs, all one word. Get in the mood for a slow, atmospheric murder mystery and hold on tight. I give it a B+. Next, I saw Twisters twice. Was it because it was so good I couldn't stay away? No. Was it because seeing Glenn Powell in a cowboy hat on the big screen only once just wasn't enough? Well, not for me, but I'd say for the 75% of the audience that consisted of high school girls, that might be a good guess. Who can say why that might be?
I know, right? Weird.
I really just wanted to go a second time when my buddy went so I could talk to him about it a little bit after. You see, he was the one that I originally saw the first Twister twice in the same weekend back in 1996, the opening weekend.
Oh, makes it a little bit more impressive.
But seeing Twisters twice on opening weekend isn't the only similarity to the original. When you see Twisters, you can't help but think of Star Wars The Force Awakens. It's like a soft reboot. Unfortunately, this time we just didn't, or just plain couldn't, get the original cast to come back. R.I.P. Philip Seymour Hoffman, aka Dusty, and Bill Paxton, aka Bill. But what we did get was classic scenes like the tragic opening that scars someone for life, the fun intro smaller tornado, the surprise nighttime tornado you hide in a pit from, the nostalgic character building visit to a family member, the naturally talented star that left for years and says, "I'm not back," but you know they're really back, helping a town recently hit by a tornado, or the experimental scientific breakthrough in tornadoes that they can't quite get to work until the end of the movie. This felt nostalgic while still feeling different and new. The tornadoes and destruction look amazing, it's funny, fast-paced, and both leads seem to have a great chemistry on screen. I recommend Twisters twice, and I give it a B+ as well. So how we doing on time?
Not sure.
Oh shit, not good. Okay, well next we got M. Night's new joint starring Josh Hartnett called Trap. Fun fact, I thought he had disappeared for the last 20 years. Nope, he's been steadily working the entire time. Which, that's great. Good for him.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So this is the story of a dad and daughter going to a huge pop star's concert, only for the dad to find out that there's an elaborate trap in place to try and catch a serial killer at this very concert. And that killer is him. A man that's been living two very different lives flawlessly up until this point at a genius level. But he's now confronted with being outsmarted.
You believe one thing your whole life and you're proven wrong. That's going to break you a little.
Yeah.
Can he escape? How will he do it? More importantly, how can he do it without his teenage daughter at the concert finding out who he really is? Josh Hartnett is incredibly good in this. They make him so likable before you find out that he's a fucking filthy criminal killer. And it keeps you invested in hoping that he can escape, and better yet, how will he escape? I'll just say this, it's probably best if you don't think too deep about some of the logic in this one.
This was really weird.
It's a lot of fun, and it's worth a watch, at least at home. I give it a B-.
Continue.
Last but not least, we have Deadpool & Wolverine.
Oh, I think I have a trailer for it right here.
Bill, I don't have time.
When the sun is blazing and the summer gets hot, water country's a very cool spot. There's no better place to feel and be young. Water country, water country, water country. Have some fun.
Anywho, well, I'm sure you've either seen this already or had it spoiled for you by any number of various social media sources, including Ryan Reynolds' own Twitter account.
Go fuck yourself.
I'll keep this spoiler free anyway. I was pumped for this, not only because it brings Deadpool and Wolverine into the MCU officially, it was also kind of a send-off to the era of Fox-branded superhero films that I kind of grew up with, basically. Now, some have argued the plot to this one is a bit nonsensical, and I admit it is a bit, but it worked as a vehicle to get us to all the fun stuff, so...
Yeah, okay, that's fine, that makes sense. I'm okay with that. Whatever.
Some have also said the comedy wasn't quite up to par, and to that I say...
fuck off.
First of all, most of the comedy landed just right for me, and for the audience as far as I could tell. You know what you should be expecting at this point with Deadpool, and they delivered it in an even more crude way under Disney than they did under Fox. There's some amazing cameos, even more amazing fight scenes, and some callbacks to classic Wolverine comics I never expected to see on the big screen.
And here's all the Japanese manga shit.
Yeah.
No, Bill, still not manga. Anyway, there's a camaraderie between Ryan and Hugh that bleeds through onto Deadpool and Wolverine, pun intended.
It's great. It's really great.
Obviously, I recommend this, and I give it an A-. It nicely rounds out the trilogy, and now we can finally see Deadpool give Dr. Doom a wedgie in the next Avengers. Okay, that's it. Lightning round over. Wow, that was a long 6 minutes.
That is the point where I'm like, fuck this.
So anyway, welcome back to you both, and more importantly, welcome back to me. And as always, peace and love, guys. Holy Shit with Reverend Scott.
He's bad at it, but
he's not good.
But somehow it worked.
Okay. Kind of miss Scott, even though I talked to him through like text messages the whole time we were gone. So thank you guys for hanging back with us. Thank you guys for sticking around with those pre-recorded shows. Like I said, if you liked them, we get more. If you're a Patreon member and would like to make a suggestion for one of those kind of like general discussion episodes, feel free to send it over. We'll be recording probably 4 additional episodes for October, which stinks because that's usually like our Halloween build-up. But this year, you know, it is what it is, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you can follow Chris and I on Instagram at Cthulhu and at OTC Bill. We have a Facebook group, which you're welcome to go to. We also have a Facebook page, which we broadcast the show to each week. If you want to watch a video version of the show, it's up on Twitch on demand. It's on our Facebook page, not the group, but on the Facebook page. And then we also stream it to YouTube, I think. So if you ever want to watch the show that way, you can do it that way. So next week, we're going to look at Furiosa and the Mad Max series, and we're going to look at Ty West's Maxine and is it the X series, the Pearl series, those 3 films.
Yeah.
So, cool. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is the end of your rotten